What's going on, y'all? Kenny here, also known as SilentFan85. Welcome to a vlog slash update. In a couple of recent streams, I mentioned that I'm currently having some concerns cardiac-wise. Cardiac referring to anything related to the heart or anything connected to the heart, so on and so forth. Basically, where your blood goes. It was a concern I brought up with my doctor. They set me up with some imaging, and I had a hell of a day yesterday. Let me break it down real quick. Basically, I'll try to make this as simple as possible, but I was set up to go do what's called a cardiac Doppler. It's basically an ultrasound on your neck. They do both carotid arteries. They did my right carotid artery. Everything looked great. Everything looked fine. Sounded good. But they got to my left, and they found, from what I could see, it looked like a storm on Saturn. The way it looked in the imaging, it was a dark spot pressed either on or against my left carotid artery. They checked it for about 20 minutes. I mean, they had this thing on my throat. It felt like I was being threatened, but it was just like really cold gel and whatnot. And luckily, I had a really nice imaging person. And so I'm sitting there, and out of nowhere, they end up calling a radiologist. And I'm just like thinking, well, this probably can't be, good news. They look at it, and the radiologist said, let's take him to another machine. Well, they took me to a more advanced machine. I think it's still the same thing, but it's a more up-to-date machine. And they verified via that there was something there. So next thing I know, they weren't able to get a hold of my PCP, my personal doctor. So I'm being told that they need further imaging to confirm that there's something there. And trust me, there's a point to this story. I'll get to it in just a minute. But they couldn't get a hold of my personal doctor because they had already closed. Apparently, the answering service that answered wasn't allowed to give out personal phone numbers. I guess not even in emergencies like this. Go figure. That's not anything towards my personal doctor. I actually love my personal doctor. I hate to lose them when I move to Dallas, but it is what it is. But anyway, they couldn't get a hold of them. So the radiologist came out and said, Mr. Mitchell, excuse me. Sorry, I just woke up. Mr. Mitchell, we can't get a hold of your personal doctor. I can't proceed any further with imaging without your PCP's permission. It's a part of apparently like a chain of command, I guess. I said, okay, well, what's going on? What are my options? I heard the words dissection, not dissection, but dissection, and thrombosis thrown around. While I was waiting, I did a little bit of Googling, and there's deep vein thrombosis, and there's carotid dissection. That's where like a plate or a wall of your carotid artery, due to something that may have happened years ago, has separated, and blood can get caught in it and create a blood clot. So I looked that up, and basically they told me my options were I can wait till Monday, and they could talk to my doctor to get further testing done, but it would cost me additionally up front, which I unfortunately didn't have. So to be straight up honest, I had to borrow a little bit of money from my folks because of this unexpected imaging, but needed to be done. So, or they said what I can do is she would recommend I check myself into the ER, and then what they can do is they can actually do the imaging pretty much right away. I said, okay, well, from what I've seen research-wise, let me go ahead and do the ER. So they escorted me to the ER. This was an experience, negative and positive. So I'm straight away. Let me just skip to the CT scan. They ended up doing a CT scan. I never had a CT scan before, but they did this whole area. I'm going to be getting the imaging on Monday, and I'm going to get a second opinion, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But they did the CT scan and finally got back from the radiologist that there is something there, but it's not threatening. It's not dissection. It's not thrombosis. The doctor that discharged me actually, as a personal suggestion, he couldn't put anything officially, but he said, in a personal opinion, I would get a second opinion. But at this point, it's nothing that is life-threatening. So that is good news. I mentioned the pressure. I've been having pressure on this side of my neck over the last few years. I've had light shooting pain up and down my left arm. I just figured it was high blood pressure because I have high blood pressure. And I told him that when my blood pressure gets high enough, I start feeling more pressure on here. And he said that sounds about right, because the blood pressure is going to cause whatever this is to push, and it's going to cause pressure. So makes sense. So anyway, there's that. As far as I know at this point, it's nothing life-threatening. I still have some pressure, and I still get a shooting pain every so often up and down my arm, but according to them, it's nothing life-threatening. Here's the fun part. Aside from the second opinion, my experience in the ER is testament to COVID. The ER was insane. I didn't even want to be there. It's not like I came off the street and wanted to be there. They had just transferred me there to get some imaging done. And then I get grilled by this drill sergeant of a doctor, kind of coming at me like some damn interrogation. I held my temper for the most part. But he's coming at me, and he's just like, why are you having this done? How did all this come up? How long ago did it happen? When did it happen? Where'd you learn the word carotid? Like what are you really, really doing here? I don't blame him. I mean, his overall attitude, and there was a couple other questions that was just dumb. And he was grilling me because he thought I was some random person off the street faking it in the ER, which happens. There are a few people, probably 1 out of a million, that do come in the ER with false symptoms and, try to play the system. I mean, that's just the truth of our system, the way it's set up. But I guess you could get that anywhere. But at the same time, the ER, especially during COVID, is crazy. I mean, it's crazy because people need to get help, especially if it's potential COVID symptoms. So that was one of the main things that really worried me while I was there, just with everything going on. I was there for about 7 hours. I was in the ER about 7 hours, from about 1 to 8 o'clock at night. The furniture didn't do my back any good. The bed didn't do my back any good with my scoliosis. Thankfully, the staff, aside from that one doctor, was actually really awesome. They were very caring. They had me on a heart monitor. They had me on an IV drip. They did everything. It was great. I won't mention the name of the hospital, but I will say, if you happen to be a health official or a doctor watching this, don't assume the worst with every patient, because I felt like a prisoner talking to this guy. Honestly, it felt like I was talking to Alex Jones. I'm not going to lie. Like, he assumed the worst. And he was so vapidly conspiratorial that I was just like, what the, I wanted to say something like, what? Do you talk to all your patients like this? I understand you may be burnt out from maybe working a double here on the ER during COVID, but do I look like I want to be here? Do I look like I want to be here? I'm here to actually try to find out what's wrong with me, and you're coming at me like I just walked in off the street. I was literally brought here by a radiologist because they found something, and you're coming at me like there's nothing there. So it was a hell of an experience, to say the least. But anyway, with that said, it was a crazy night. I used some PTO today. I'm actually off, thankfully. I used the last of my PTO before I ended up transferring to Dallas, moving to Dallas. So I got a bit triggered when I got home. I had a bit of an episode. I didn't sleep a whole lot. I ended up, taking something to help me sleep, and it helped. And thankfully, my family knows I'm doing all right. I still got to call a couple of folks because they got wind of what's going on. Cardiac issues are no bueno overall, but I just recently lost my father to heart conditions, heart problems, as well as diabetes. back in March. So now, everybody's still kind of on edge about it, especially me being me with having high blood pressure. It's weird. But anyway, second opinion will be done. I'm also going to do further research because if I've long had a suspicion that there may be something that runs in the family. There are heart problems on my mom's side, and there's definitely heart problems on my dad's side. But what heart problems? I mean, there's usually something specifically that keeps being handed down that could help. So I'm trying to find out for me, trying to find out for my brothers, and maybe I can, kind of break the cycle of misinformation or, the unknown when it comes to that side of the family. So we'll see. But anyway, quick vlog. I wanted to keep you guys updated. I'm sorry it's so long, 10 minutes, but there was a lot that happened. I don't have the images yet, but like I said, I'm going to get a second opinion. There is obviously something here. It's right in this area. And whatever it is, there's really no pain. It's just pressure. There might be a slight build that goes from about here to there, give or take, right in that area. And I'll say it's weird looking at the inside of your body. It's really freaking weird. So there's that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. I'm going to get some rest today, but we'll be back with streaming soon. But that's what I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks. That's why you guys haven't seen a whole lot of me. Just because I've had that on my mind, and it's really worried me. I've been under a cloud, to be honest. But a little bit of light shining through. I just got to make sure I get a second opinion to get more light in my life. In that regard, it's been a serious worry. So anyway, I will see y'all soon. Peace.